Good morning. Please be seated. My name is Leo Groark. I have the privilege of being the 8th president of Trent University. Just before we officially begin, I wanted to go a little bit off script and do a special shout out. And it occurs to me that there are two important things happening in Ontario today. One, of course, there is an election going on. The other is, this is Convocation Day at Trent University. And applause would be appropriate. And I wanted to say something about a special group of students who are graduating. So I'm going to ask the social work graduates to stand for a moment, please. And what I want to tell you is that these are the first graduates from Trent's new social work program. And I'm going to say, without being political, that no matter what happens in the election today, they are going to make Ontario better. Please be seated. In keeping with Trent tradition, I want to officially begin by respectfully acknowledging that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to our First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings always. I'm very pleased to welcome graduates, families, spouses, partners, and friends to today's ceremony. Some of you come from close by, others from across Canada and around the world. I'd like to preface the awarding of degrees, which is really the heart of this ceremony, by saying something about the convocation ceremony. At Trent, I like to think that we aim for a convocation ceremony that is very like Trent in personality. And here I would mention a quote from a recent review of the university, which I like, that described Trent University in this way. We are, quote, a prestigious and elite small university, but one that is approachable and friendly. And I want to emphasize the friendly, because on the one hand, there's a very formal aspect to the convocation ceremony. This is the end, at least of this stage, of our students' educational careers. It marks the fact that they've successfully completed all the requirements for their degrees. That's an important moment. But I also want to note that a convocation is supposed to be a celebration. It's a party. It's a party we are hosting to help you and the students celebrate their success. So I want you to feel, in fact, by whatever power is invested in me, I'm not too sure how much that is, I want to give you permission to treat it as a party. Don't be shy. Be loud, shout, enjoy yourself. If you want, thank you for that. If you want, and you're a parent, you may want to treat it as a party to celebrate the fact that your son or daughter finally finished their degree. There we go, there's a few out there, okay. As you celebrate, we want you to be comfortable. I did want to note that there are sun hats available. It's been an interesting convocation week because last year we had lots of sun and people were very hot. So we went out in preparation for this year and we bought 2,500 sun hats with the Trent emblem over it. And so far, until today, nobody has used the hats. So I think there's a kind of causal connection because we prepared that way. It's been great weather. To our visitors, I want to say that I hope you will enjoy Trent's deep sense of community. I also hope that our graduates will show you some of our beautiful campus here in Peterborough. I hope you'll walk across the Ferrion Bridge and visit some of the places that they have lived and studied. If you're adventurous, I invite you to explore our wildlife trails on the east side of the river. And if you are very adventurous, I invite you to sign out a canoe from the athletic center and paddle down the river. There are lawyers who have told me that if you're going to do that, I must ask you to sign a liability waiver. As a university, I believe we have more canoes per student than any university in the world. Canoes, kayaks. Let me end these remarks by saying to our graduates that you are joining a prestigious Trent family, which includes famous authors, Nobel Prize winners, Rhodes Scholars, Governor General, and Academy Award winners. And I truly expect that some of you will be added to the list of those people in the future. I would note that this family includes scientists, artists, social scientists, religious and political leaders, and perhaps even more importantly, a cadre of teachers, researchers, medical practitioners, mothers, fathers, and good citizens. I believe that Trent has prepared you well for the exciting and challenging adventures that lie ahead. This is your moment. This is your day. Enjoy it as an important time to imagine your future and create a life of consequence and a purpose that is uniquely your own. I now officially declare Convocation open. I now have the pleasure of introducing our Convocation speaker today, our very own Chancellor, Dr. Don Tapscott. Don Tapscott is CEO of the Tapscott Group and is one of the world's leading authorities on the impact of technology on business and society. He has authored 16 books, including Wikinomics, How Mass Collaboration Changes Everything, which has been translated to 25 different languages. Don's most recent and ambitious book was co-authored with his son, startup CEO and Bitcoin governance expert, Alex Tapscott. It's called Blockchain Revolution, How the Technology Underlying Bitcoin is Changing Business, Money, and the World. The book was published in May 2016. In 2017, Don and Alex co-founded the Blockchain Research Institute to conduct the definitive investigation into blockchain strategy, use cases, implementation challenges, and organizational transformations. Don is a member of the Order of Canada and has been ranked as the second most influential management thinker in the world and the #1 digital thinker in the world. It's hard to imagine anyone who has been more prolific, profound, and influential in explaining today's technological revolutions and their impact on the world. Don is in his second term as our Chancellor and is the first alumnus to serve in that role. He's an alumni leader and philanthropic champion of Trent, supporting many projects, including the new Student Center. Mr. Chancellor, I now invite you to address Convocation.
Well, thank you very much for that too kind introduction. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman of the Board, graduates, friends, and family. Let me start by saying heartfelt congratulations to each of you graduating today and to those who share in your success. And congratulations on choosing psychology, sociology, and social work. Fine disciplines. They worked for me. That's, in fact, my background at Trent. You'd never guess by looking at or judging from my youthful appearance, but I graduated from Trent almost 5 decades ago. And reflecting on how the world has changed has caused me to think about the next decades ahead for you. In 1970, the war in Vietnam was raging. The world was bifurcated. The Cold War was at its height. We were divided between communism and capitalism as economic systems. Blacks, women, indigenous people lacked basic rights. Almost half of the world's population lived in poverty. Well, things have changed a lot, although there's still much to be done. But to me, the biggest changes that occurred were caused by the advent of the digital age. Back when I was at Trent, other than television, cars, and phones, there was no technology in our lives, and none of those were really digital. Televisions they weren't flat screens. They had cathode ray tubes. And it would be hard for you to imagine, but telephones had a wire connected to them, and they went to the wall, and they didn't do anything except you could talk on them sometimes. There were no computers at Trent anywhere, and nobody used computers except programmers. At Trent, our tuition payments were calculated using adding machines and calculators. And for my honors thesis in psychology, I figured that it would take me a year to analyze all the data. So I found a ticker tape connection at Trent to the only computer in Peterborough. It was at the GE factory. And I learned a programming language, and I programmed some basic statistical routines. And I remember that the computer analyzed all this data in 90 seconds. And I remember thinking, wow, these computers are going to be big. Now, I'm not telling you all of this as some kind of grandpa's fond memories of the good old days. Au contraire. I want you to think about how the world is changing and what that might mean for you. So the whole digital thing really began to affect all of us in 1982, the year of the personal computer, IBM PC. And coincidentally, that was the year of my first book, okay? 36 years ago, remember, 36. Flash forward 36 years into the future from today, where technology, flash forward to today, technology permeates everything. And most of you have a supercomputer in your pocket today. Now, the impact has not been all positive. Entire industries have been wiped out. Our privacy has been undermined. Big companies have captured the new asset class of the digital age, data, the new oil. And the benefits of the digital age have been asymmetrical. We have growing economies, but declining prosperities, wealth creation, but the middle class in many countries is shrinking. There's been a fragmentation of public discourse where we all follow our own point of view into little self-reinforcing echo chambers. And I'm sure you've all been at a restaurant and the table next to you, a family is sitting there and they're all looking at their mobile devices rather than talking to each other. And drones have not always been used to deliver parcels for Amazon, not always been used for good. But the changes in the last 36 years will pale compared to the changes that you will witness and create. And the reason is that growth in all of this is exponential. And that digital is moving on to, quote, the second half of the chessboard. Now, this is a clever phrase that was coined by American inventor and author Ray Kurzweil. And he tells the story of the emperor of China, who was just delighted with the game of chess and invited the inventor to come into the palace. And he said, and I paraphrase, "I love this game. You can have any wish you want." And the inventor said, "Well, I'm a modest man. I'd just like some rice. Give me a single grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, 8 on the fourth. Just keep doubling, exponential growth." And the emperor wasn't that good at math, figured this was a few bags of rice, so granted the wish. When the court mathematicians got at it, though, he realized that he couldn't deliver because while small at the outset, the amount of rice escalates to more than 2 billion grains, 36 squares, halfway through the chessboard. And the final square, the 64th, would require 2 to the 64th grains of rice. That's a big number. 18 quintillion, 446 quadrillion, 744 trillion grains of rice, enough to cover all of planet Earth 6 inches deep. So imagine the effect of this exponential growth as in this year, 2018, 36 years later, we enter that second half of the chessboard. The next 36 years, or the last 36 years, will look like a little quaint blip compared to the massive changes that are coming in the next 36, doubling year after year. Think about technology that's quadrillions of times more important than that measly thing in your pocket today or in the Trent data center. Think about where we've been in the last 36 years as being an inch and where we're going being thousands of times taller than the Champlain Tower. So artificial intelligence devices will do things that we don't program them to do because they're capable of learning. There'll be no truck drivers or drivers of any kind replaced by autonomous vehicles. That'll happen in the next 15 years. Factories will be full of robots rather than people, and drones will be delivering parcels everywhere. You will star in movies. The holodeck from Star Trek will exist. We'll have technology throughout our bodies, replacing bones, organs, perhaps even part of our nervous systems. Blockchain, the underlying technology of cryptocurrencies, will eliminate stock markets, challenge the existence of banks and many other industries, including government. So most of today's industries, companies, and job types will not exist 36 years from now. So the implications for you are rather profound, but they don't need to be staggering. If we do this right, of course, we can eliminate poverty, many illnesses, probably even aging, turn back the tide on environmental destruction, and build new, more open democratic societies with peace and justice for all. If we do this wrong, well, let's just say the future could be very bleak. Think Skynet from the Terminator, okay? So the good news is that your Trent education has equipped you well to start this journey into the second half of the chessboard. So I'd like to end by giving you some advice. Think about how you can design your life. Make design choices today. I never thought about that when I graduated. I just figured I'm going to have a career. Well, don't let the future just happen. Participate in achieving a future that works for you, your family, your community, and the world by making some important choices right here, right now, today. And 3 points I'd like to make to close. First, design your strategy for lifelong learning. My colleagues and I entered the workforce with a knowledge base, and we kept up in our chosen field. I always figured I'd be a psychologist. I actually never was, even back then. But we thought that we were set for life. Well, today you know that that idea is laughable. If your degree marked a milestone in your knowledge only, you'd be set for, well, to use Andy Warhol's euphemism, 15 minutes. And if you took a technical course, a lot of what you learned in the first year is obsolete by the time you get to the fourth year. So I know you're celebrating a milestone today, but don't think that your higher education is completed. It's really just begun. Lifelong learning needs to be an assumption for you, and you will reinvent your knowledge base multiple times as you go through life. As graduates from a liberal arts and science university, you know that knowledge is important, but what really matters and what you've really acquired at Trent is your capabilities, underlying knowledge, your capacity to think critically, to solve problems, to research, to collaborate, to put things in context, and your passion for learning, reinventing yourself again and again and again. So I also encourage you to design your media diet. By that, I mean that when I graduated, there were several TV stations, a couple of newspapers, and we relied on them. You could trust news sources like Walter Cronkite to tell the truth. Well, today you have millions of newspapers and TV stations and choices. So how are you going to inform yourself in a world where the old ways of doing that are collapsing. You'll need to further develop your BS detectors and make choices about how you'll interact with this avalanche of information. Don't be cynical about what you read, but think critically and skeptically. The antidote for information overload is to develop your personal filters. And don't just scan. Read articles, like from the beginning to the end every day. Number 2, design your vocation in ways that I never did. When I graduated from Trent, students went to work for a big company. And IBM, GM, consulting companies were all lined up outside. You wanted to get a job with a big bank or be a teacher, government employee. Well, today these options are less feasible as hiring in those areas has declined. Now, you will all get jobs. The research shows that. And there are new choices for you. And the big one is a forklift driver. No, the big one is to be an entrepreneur. And research shows that new jobs come from relatively new companies. So entrepreneurship is actually key to jobs. There's a lesson here for you. Look for opportunities to join smaller companies or companies that cross over between the private sector and civil society. Or do the unthinkable. Explore the idea of creating your own business. It's easier to do that these days because small companies can have all the capabilities of big companies without the main liabilities. Now, parents, don't panic here. I'm not suggesting that your children throw caution to the wind and ask you to mortgage your house to fund their big idea. And typically it makes sense for you to get some work experience to develop an idea, a business plan, and connections to make it happen. But you might be one of the new generation of business builders in Canada who will make a real difference in achieving prosperity in this country. Or by being a social entrepreneur where you do well by doing good at the same time. And that brings me to my final point. Design your life as a citizen. You know, today your degree from Trent does equip you well for thinking, and collaborating, and learning. So as you leave these hallowed halls, by all means, as Spock would say, live long and prosper. Build a successful and prosperous life for yourself and your families. Most of you will do that. But let me argue that humanity and Canada needs more of you. You know, as you travel through the second half of the chessboard, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that just about everything we know about civilization will change. You'll be the generation to lead in the rebuilding of our institutions, of our economy, and of our society, and hopefully of a reindustrialization of planet Earth to protect this little planet from its inevitable destruction if we keep going the way that we're going. So you'll need to participate in big change in your workplace, community, country, causes you join as a global citizen. And you will need to teach your children well. One simple thing you can do is vote. I've just come back from some parts of the world where young people your age would actually die to have the right to vote and have some kind of control over their future. But all around the world today, young people are cynical about our political institutions. A lot of young people agree with the bumper sticker, "Don't vote, it only encourages them." And when you look at the behavior of a lot of politicians, it's sort of understandable. But don't give up on democracy, because the alternatives for you and your families and loved ones are really undesirable. So I encourage you to be a political person, political with a small p, for starters by voting in every election that comes along. And as President Groark has mentioned, today is an auspicious occasion. It's the day of your graduation. It's also the day of an election in Ontario. And your generation is actually the largest voting bloc now. You will determine the outcome of this election if you vote, but also the outcome of most elections for the better part of this century. So with great responsibility, or great power, comes great responsibility. I seem to be making a lot of movie references. But you can make this the perfect day by voting. Canada needs your good judgment, your critical thinking, your passion, and your demographic muscle to ensure that this smaller country that your children inherit is a better one. Actually, I've never been more optimistic about the future because I believe that we are in the early days of a new civilization, enabled by a new technological and communications revolution and forged by you. A new generation of young people who do think differently around the world. Each of you can participate in this renaissance, and because of that, it's surely an amazing time to graduate and an amazing time to be alive. So hopefully you'll have the wisdom and the will to seize the time and design your life to make it work for you and for our collective future. Godspeed to each of you. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, Professor Kim Calderwood, the director of our social work program, will now present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Social Work Honors. Graduates, she will read your name, you'll come across the stage, the Chancellor will congratulate you, I'll congratulate you, and then the University Registrar, Tracy Eladrisi, will congratulate you.
Mr. Chancellor, I am pleased to present for the degree of Bachelor of Social Work in the Honours Program, candidates whose names will be read, whom the Senate has duly declared worthy of the honour that they may receive the degree at your hands. Kayla Adams. Emily Buckley. Sarah Ann Bullied. Caitlin Nicole Chapman. Lorita Chineke Oko. Hannah Jo Coates. Chelsea Madeline Collins. Melanie Dubois. Cassidy Jacqueline Eames. Morgan Olivia Emerson. Amanda Joy Farrell. Melissa Lynn Gorey. Jessica Lynn Hare. Caitlin Heminger. Victoria Joy Twyla Hayes. Patricia Elizabeth LeBlanc. Sarah Lewis. Emily Susan Pacina. Mary Emily Shing. Jonathan Everett Sheehan. Michelle Carly Stankavicius. Nikayla Marie Marcella Talgoy. Kristen Nicole Taylor. Amy Nicole Vankunet. Erin Elizabeth Wismer. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of Bachelor of Social Work degrees in the Honors Program. Mr. Chancellor, Professor Gillian Balfour, Associate Dean of Teaching and Learning, will now present candidates for all degrees.
Mr. Chancellor, I'm pleased to present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Honors Program, candidates whose names will be read, whom the Senate has duly declared worthy of the honor that they may receive the degree at your hands. Braylon Amodio. Priscilla Asima. Megan Baker. Leanne Emily Brandt. Madison Lee Brooks. Megan Rose Corey Broomfield. Shanique Nicole Brown Reynolds. Christian Faye Buck. Erin Marie Busby. Cassandra Rose Butler. Brendan Callahan. Robin Lorraine Kathleen Campbell. Robin Alexandra Kavanaugh. Mackenzie Taylor Clark. Brianna Linda Jean Dart. Carl Anthony Debrew. Kayla Duncan. Lydia Freeman. Nicole Jean Herod. Megan Horrocks. Hannah Alexandra Johnston. Natalie Sue Sun Kim. Laura Elizabeth Knapp. Tess Lavelle Sutton. Alexandria Elizabeth Leach. Crystal Lynn Lewis. Kaylee Ann Lewis. Heather Dana Moore. Leanne Marie McGee. Cole Patrick McWilliams. Dana Nofke. Laura Elizabeth Noseworthy.
She's got a middle name, Allison.
Jennifer Ghazi Anua. Amy Elizabeth Orr. Caitlin Palmer. Kaylee Peters. Catherine Richardson. Christina Peyton Ritzkis.
Leah Genevieve.
Leah Genevieve Rogers Valgobin. Haley Alicia Rowan. Luna Sedik. Kirsten Taylor Salisbury. Eric Samtelban. Paige Sawyer. Emily Elizabeth Schilling. Samantha Blair Siemens. Courtney Caroline Snow. Melissa Elaine Stevens. Emily Story Hertubes. Jessica Thacker. Sarah Ann Thistle. Haley Van Allen. Maria Vandermeer. Claudia Akimi Walker. Jessica Lynn Waltner. Brianna Marie Webb. Megan Webb. Emily Ann Williams. Haley Elizabeth Willis. Abby Wisetill. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of the Bachelor of Arts degrees in the Honors Program. Mr. Chancellor, I'm pleased to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science in the Honors Program, candidates whose names will be read, whom the Senate has duly declared worthy of the honor that they may receive the degree at your hands. Eric Donald Serge Beland. Caitlin Alicia Blewett. Derek Bowles. Krista Alan Brewster McDonald. Rebecca Ann Brown. Samantha Burns. Hannah Mackenzie Cahill. Emma Gloria Ann Claypool. Ashley Cockle. Scotty Jean Acurran. Caitlin Marie Davis. David Harris Jules Engelberg. Matthew Arthur Hagopian. Sharia Danielle Harbridge. Frederick Alexander David Hook Wood. Adam Michael Johnston. Pira Karunakaran. Jessica Heather Johnston. Kimberly Francis Kerr. Jessica Lentners. Kimberly McDonnell. Larissa R. Monaghan. Cameron Solar Francis Monez Tarl. Daniel Morris. William Douglas Morris. Jordan Jerica Neomalin Marie Mulgrew. Marley Grace Neat. This next student is receiving the Simons Medal. The medal is named in honor of the Professor Tom Simons, founding president of Trent University. And it is awarded to students who achieve high overall academic standing on graduation at the honors level. Mr. Chancellor, I call upon you to present the Simons Medal to Ryan Connolly O'Byrne. Jessica Patel. Laurel Ann Grace Peary. Gwendolyn Preston. Robin Rashawn Kaiser. Lauren McPherson Roth. Brianne Christine Roy. Kara Rutherford. Marla Rose Sarta. Alexis Nicole Serpay. Holly Kathleen Millie Stephen. Taylor Straub. Brent William Tunison. Madeline Tur. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of the Bachelor of Science degrees in the Honors Program. Mr. Chancellor, I'm pleased to present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the General Program, candidates whose names will be read, whom the Senate has duly declared worthy of the honor, that they may receive the degree at your hands. Olivia Catherine Austin. Kelsey Amanda Bateman. Aaron Beaton. Rashida Kinda Boyrard. Zoe Lauren Brown. Shannon Burke. Elizabeth Ann Eaton. Cotterell Ellis. Lauren Ferguson. Emily Fitzgerald. Miranda Giroux. Michelle Gauguin. Christopher Paul Hifawi. Marissa Clarice Hopkins. Samantha Margaret Ireland. Crystal Judith Jessup. Zara Lobsinger. Taylor Lee McKenzie. Taylor Gloria Marshall. Kelsey Tabitha Mathura. Chloe Celeste Marie Matthews. Juliana Jennifer Musklow. Brandy Pentland. Hannah Pomeroy. Samantha Christine Sebuar. Leah Steins. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of the Bachelor of Arts degrees in the general program. Mr. Chancellor, I'm pleased to present the degree of the Bachelor of Science in the General Program, candidates whose names will be read, whom the Senate has duly declared worthy of the honor that they may receive the degree at your hands. Brennan Kristen Bomberry. Deborah Clark. Brenda Kong. Olivia Elizabeth Krasinski. Sonia Massett. Karanajit Kaur Sahota. Jasmine Marie Lynette Warner. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of the Bachelor of Science degrees in the General Program. Mr. Chancellor, I ask that you confer degrees in absentia on candidates whose names are before you and who are unable to be with us today. Provost and Vice President Academic Jackie Muldoon will now recognize faculty receiving special awards and honors.
Mr. Chancellor, Emeritus is an honorary title given to professors upon their retirement from the university. Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to confer the title of Professor Emeritus upon Professor Deborah Kennett of the Psychology Department. Mr. Chancellor, Professor David Newhouse will now introduce the honor song.
On this beautiful day, before all words can be spoken, we bring greetings to all of creation, and we give thanks for another day of life. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, graduates. In the custom of the first peoples of this land, we offer the sound of the drum and our voices to honor our mother, the earth. We send our profound and deepest thanks to all of creation, and we greet the world with humility and embrace the richness, diversity, and wonder of life. In the Anishinaabe teachings, the sound of the drum represents the original sound of creation. The heartbeat of creation echoes still throughout the universe and infuses our being with life. We sound the drum to connect us with all of creation, to honor and celebrate this life, and to live with humility among all living things. We offer these words of praise for those who are graduating this day. We offer these words of thanksgiving to those who made these accomplishments possible. We offer these words of respect to those who have come before us and who have brought dignity to our lives. We offer these words to remind us of the 7 grandfather teachings, to live with respect, kindness, honesty, sharing, courage, and strength. We offer these words to honor the words of our Chancellor, Don Tapscott. We offer this song to accompany you on your travels. May you travel well and may your lives be filled with grace and dignity, and may you use your good minds for the benefits of all living beings. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, graduates, I have the pleasure of presenting Unity. And may I ask you to stand, if you are able, for the honor song. The honor song is Southern Sunny Song. Thank you, Unity. You may be seated. The song is also an invocation to bring sunny days into the lives of our graduates. Mr. Chancellor, I would like to invite Ms. Miley Loweth-Rouse of the Trent University Alumni Association to welcome the graduating class.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, graduates, honored guests, parents, I am absolutely thrilled to be here today. 34 years ago, I sat where you are now, looking forward to a world of possibilities. That might be a cliche, but it's true. Today, I stand before you to welcome you to a distinguished and inclusive group of 43,000 members, Trent alumni. Although I was a modest donor for many years, I didn't get more involved until pretty recently, and I wish I'd done so a lot sooner. I love Trent, and I love giving back to an institution which means so much to me and gave so much to me. I did a graduate degree at another university, but my heart belongs here. The Trent University Alumni Association is delighted to have you officially join our community today. As I speak, an email is being delivered to your inbox so you can update your contact info. You can do it now, right away, during this speech, I won't mind. We want to keep you informed. We have awards, benefits, and services we'd love for you to take part in. Trent is not only a part of your past, but it is a part of your future. Today, the entire alumni family celebrates you. On behalf of the Trent University Alumni Association, it is my honor and privilege to say welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Reeves. As we come to the end of the ceremony, I did want to thank a few people. I try to thank at the end of the ceremony, some of the unsung heroes of Convocation. It takes a lot of people and a lot of commitment from people to make this happen. So I'm just going to shine the light on one person today. I'd like to ask Nona Robinson, the Vice President of Students, to stand up. Nona comes to every convocation. Parents, I will tell you, she's the closest thing to a parent for students at Trent. Of course, I say this, I'm a parent. Nobody can replace a parent. But when students have needs, emotional or otherwise, they go to Nona, and she makes it a point to be here at every convocation to congratulate students. So a round of applause, please, for Nona Robinson. Finally, graduates, I'd like you to help me send out a thank you to some other people who've been key to this. This does not diminish your accomplishments in any way, but you've received your degrees partly because you had a support network. And that support network, certainly it provided emotional support, maybe even a little bit of financial support. And maybe when you had issues here or there, they were there for you, and they probably will be there for you always, as will Trent University, of course. I'd ask you to stand up and give a rousing applause and thank you to your parents and your supporters in the audience. Thank you. Thank you. Feel the love. Please join us for a reception in the alumni atrium of the Student Center following the ceremony. That's the building behind this building. The procession will lead the stage following the singing of O Canada, and I would ask you to remain standing if you are able until the procession has started. Mr. Chancellor, I call upon you to dismiss Convocation.
Well, thank you all for being here today, and I do have to announce that the skating rink that we've had in the parking lot for the last 2 days is closed today, and thank you to Mother Nature for that. I hope that you look back on today with fondness, not just as the end of a stage in your life, but as the beginning of an exciting career. And closing remarks like this are designed to inspire you and give some helpful ideas. I've already given you a lot of suggestions, so let me dispense with this task briefly. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Good things come to those who wait, and what doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. Turn lemons into lemonade. Buy a good suit, and more important, good shirt and shoes. Hello, it's all about the accessories. Brush your teeth and floss. I can't overestimate the importance of flossing. Increase the proportion of vegetables in your diet, and I want you to write this one down, okay? Please never show up at a job interview with your parents in tow. Okay. That about sums it up. Are there any questions? Okay, good. I think we're done here. Seriously, I'm not going to give you any more advice because you will be successful. So again, congratulations to all of you. Good luck. Dream big, innovate, be bold, be consequential, change the world. Convocation is now dismissed.